Thank you, folks. As we always say, truth crashed to earth shall rise again. And that's why when we come here, we say, we shall tell it like it is, and let the chips fall where the bloody hell may. Charlie, it's all good, it's all good. Well, the news right now is that finally, Wontumi has been sentenced to jail. And folks, Wontumi has been sentenced for 20 years in jail for galamsey, for a whole host of reasons. But the thing is this, Wontumi has been sentenced.
Hebrew. Shamak Israel Yehovah, Elahenu Yehovah Ekat, we ahata et Yehovah, Elohika bika luvika, Uvika navashika, Uvika miyopika, Tode Yashach, Tode Yashach, in English, in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Let me do a quick digression here. When Mahama was campaigning as a candidate, and they talked about the whole country needs a reset.
Dream with me of a reset Ghana, the Ghana we all want, where your talents and hard work will determine your success. I promise a Ghana where you are not sidelined, but at the forefront of change, where you can live happy lives and still achieve your optimum potential. This is not just a promise, it's a commitment. I will reset the economy and Ghana will be open for business for 24 hours a day.
That's when I fell in love with him. Because folks, I say it all the time, resetting there, unless we truly reset, this country will not go anywhere. That's one thing. And what I was always thinking about, say, hey, Charlie, but the resetting, every area in Ghana needs to reset to. Educational, religional, culture, everything, our thinking. The biggest problem we have is our thinking. Everything needs to reset. But then I was wondering, so this reset, because every area needs resetting, where does Mahama start from? And not maybe so. Where do we start from resetting? And I think, and I said long ago, that if oral actually is pursued, if the people who rooted this country are actually pursued and either they pay back and go to jail or at least recover the loot. I said it that if oral succeeds, that is a great point to reset. Do you know why? Because Ghanaians will now realize that we have entered a new era where nobody is above the law. You can't come and chop. No, I could free. It's been happening. Yes, year after year, people are elected into power, they chop, they are cut, with this guy, they go free. The next government comes, they chop, with this guy, they go free. It has become a cycle of looting. And by the way, the reason Mahama won with such a high margin was because Ghanaians said, really? Are you going to recover our loot? And they vote them out. So make no mistake, the high margins was because Mahama hit a nerve that we are going to do oral and recover all the loot.
We'll launch an operation Recover All the Loot to investigate, prosecute, and recover the proceeds of corruption. To investigate, prosecute, and recover the proceeds of corruption, no person found culpable will be spared.
And you'll be added. NPP, NDC, CPP, everybody was happy with it, unless you're not Ghanaian. But let me tell you this, every intelligent Ghanaian was happy with it. So, from what I said, every intelligent Ghanaian was happy with it. You can decide for yourself who wasn't happy with it. Charlie, the amount of money that politicians have looted.
The 36 cases that we have reviewed in detail, if we are successful in recoveries, we can retrieve as much as 20.49 billion United States dollars. 20.49 billion United States dollars, 36 cases, and that's from National Cathedral, PDS, SML. You have the GMPC salt pond decommissioning. There's a great deal of resources belonging to the taxpayers that can be retrieved. Then we've also done an estimate of the state capture, the lands. If we successfully ask people to pay conservative market value for the lands they have looted, again, the experts are telling us that we can recover about 702.8 million United States dollars for the Ghanaian people.
It's more than what we go and borrow at IMF. And that we go and borrow money at IMF because we don't have money, because we are broke. But when you check the documents, the amount of money we have looted is higher than what we go and borrow. Folks, this is a sign of a mental sickness. This is a sign of a mental sickness. We waste our money and then we go and queue in front of the white person. Ridiculous. But that's what we have been doing for so long that it has become natural. So actually, let us loot our money, and when it becomes critical, we go to the white people and beg them for money. Nonsensical, non-thinking attitude. So, folks, when James said that Ghana needs to reset, we need to change our thinking and everything.
Today should mark the beginning of a new opportunity. An opportunity for us to make a difference in our governance and our economic management. We shall reset our dear nation, Ghana.
I said, fine. So, trust me, folks, for many people, many Ghanaians, resetting begins with visible signs that the government is ready to fight corruption and stamp out the looting. You remember at the beginning, people didn't even take it serious. It was like a kind of I remember somebody holding a press conference saying that if you want to go for call to come and account for your cell looting, don't go.
And so if you are a former government official and you're invited by this so-called aura, our advice to you from the minority is to boycott any invitation from the aura team. We are not going to be part of it.
That's what he said. Don't show up. Unfortunately, even people even said that the whole idea was a witch hunt and political vendetta.
I condemn in no uncertain terms the establishment of a so-called committee called Aura. I hold a humble view that it is a needless committee. It has no constitutional backing, and this committee is only in for personal vendetta. If we allow this committee to continue with its so-called wild goose chase, it will disturb the governance of this country. We don't need any so-called aura. I regret that members of this hallowed chamber are advocates of this illegal, unconstitutional so-called body called aura. Mr. Speaker, let me remind my colleagues that the incoming minority caucus has a mantra, and I will disclose the mantra to them: touch one, touch all. We are not going to allow you to use unconstitutional means to shut us up, to frustrate people, to chase people into their homes.
And the sad part for me is that all those that were making the noises were aware that looting had taken place. You see, I think the biggest mistake the NPP made was that right at the beginning, they should have said and joining the chorus actually. No. There are so many of us who have been accused of looting, and this one, we have to get to the bottom of it. Yeah, MPP dear. But if they say our fellow compatriots have looted the country, that one we don't support. I think MPP should have taken that stand to say that when it comes to looting there, we don't support it. And we back every action that should be taken by the judiciary to make sure that we stamp out the looting. MPP should have said that. But on the contrary, there was a fight against it. So whether they were aware or not, they positioned themselves as a fight against Ghanaians. It wasn't a political issue anymore. Honestly, not an NDC, MPP issue anymore. It was an issue of justice and injustice. And sadly, the MPP took a stand with injustice. Don't do anything about looting. Why? Folks, that's why I call myself not a politician, because I think that sometimes political actions should be tempered with a bit of maturity. MPP would have lost nothing if they had said no. Even if there's looting, we back the judiciary to stamp out the looting. But it don't appear as a looting, we are for it.
Mr. Speaker, that so-called committee claiming to be going after loot must be cautioned that committee is unconstitutional and illegal. And I pray that my respected colleague, Dr. Ayeni, after taking office, will review the activities of this illegal, unconstitutional body. The way this aura is going, it will not help the cause of our democracy.
And the looting was so visible. Vamia confirmed it. He said there were people who were absolutely nobodies, but got into power and they became so rich.
Me modern me ye juma Emma party no ebe wini ye nipa bebre ye ba ban mo 8 years nipa mu bi ebe nya sika enya sa na anka yan wini election na anka wo nya sa sika no.
Ken at one point also threw that thing out.
The MPP is looting this country as if there's no tomorrow. So much. The MPP is looting this country as if there's no tomorrow. So much. Why?
So all I'm saying is this: it would have done no wrong for the leadership to say, Charlie, fine, we messed up, you have moved up from there, and the looting dear. We are now going to rebuild Ghana. We're going to reset Ghana. So we will support all actions in furtherance of collecting the loot. Never take a stand against the will of Ghanaians. Do you know, before the election, when information started coming out about the extent of the looting and everything?
The 36 cases that we have reviewed in detail, if we are successful in recoveries, we can retrieve as much as 20.49 billion United States dollars. 20.49 billion United States dollars. 36 cases, and that's from National Cathedral, PDS, MS, SML. You have the GMPC salt pond decommissioning. There's a great deal of resources belonging to the taxpayers that can be retrieved. Then we've also done an estimate of the state capture, the lands. If we successfully ask people to pay conservative market value for the lands they have looted, again, the experts are telling us that we can recover about 702.8 million United States dollars for the Ghanaian people.
Before the election, many Ghanaians were saying this election is not between NDC and MPP. They said the election was between Ghana and the MPP. meaning that you either have a choice to vote for MPP, so they continue with the loot that people have seen for 8 years, or vote for Ghana so that the nation can recover the loot. That's what people were saying. It was between Ghana and the MPP. And sadly, the MPP confirmed people's pain and suspicion that yes, they stand with the looters. That's why somebody can hold a press conference and say, when they call you, don't go.
And so if you are a former government official and you're invited by this so-called Ora, advice to you from the minority is to boycott any invitation from the Ora team. We are not going to be part of it.
For what? What is a personal vendetta?
It is a needless committee. It has no constitutional backing. And this committee is only in for personal vendetta.
Folks, and I said that the last time when His Excellency Kufuor was trying former NDC people for causing financial loss. Prepare went in, I mentioned all the names. Victor Salome went in, Malam Issa went in. Was that a personal vendetta? All those who are saying that what is happening now is a personal, was that a personal political vendetta? No. So folks, let me come back to where I started. Finally, I think the sign that oral is alive has just sprung up. You know, it got to a point where even some of us were saying, Charlie, we know that the wheels of justice grind too slowly, but they starting to look like the wheels have stopped, you know. However, they were still grinding. And the result is what we all saw the other day, that Wontumi has been sentenced to 20 years with hard labor. So as slowly as the wheels of justice was grinding, you know. But this is what I'm saying, folks. One of the things that annoyed Ghanaians most, you know the saying in English, people who live in glass houses don't throw stones. I like the tree version properly. Yes, it's atente rosha toa in for jaso, which means in English that if you have cotton wool in your bum, don't jump over fire, because the cotton wool will light the fire. People who live in glass houses don't throw stones. And I think that the painful thing why Ghanaians were disappointed was that there were all these people who lived in glass houses that were throwing stones all over. And people were saying, hey, you know? And folks, whether we like it or not, the arrest of Wontumi has signaled that the fight of oral has not died. And people actually believe that visibly it is just starting. I'm sorry to say, people are going to follow. You know what I'm saying? I remember as much as I was also saying that maybe the courts of justice are grinding, I told Nanama was one of my guests some time ago, and I told Nanama that I know that it seems grinding slowly, but something inside me tells me that people will not get away with this loot. I told Nanama, I said, by the end of this year, we shall see just for the fact, say, their campaign should, no matter what. Onye Musa, I don't know the strategy, I don't know anything, but I'm sitting here today and telling my audience, and I want to know witness, say, within 1 year, we'll be shocked. Oh yeah, something will happen. Now, something must happen, no. And to me, yes, so it's a come be raining, will be a dear. And now I will say, me de me real temility, but the 1 million by mammy and Pliba gave me the amount to make. No.
But I don't know, so.
And never so. A two-way trap. When I'm catch you.
Oh, President Mahama administration.
A two-way trap within 1 year. You know, so the arrest of Minister is just a visible sign that oral is not dead. Oral can never die. Remember, I did a program I was calling on Ghanaians to say we will not allow it to die. One time, I think it was A+ who had made a statement that we should forget about oral. Oral is dead.
Oral should just go and sleep somewhere. I don't want to talk about them. Everybody watching me, whether you're NDC or MPP, does Ora make sense? And me, if I have government property, Ora can never take it out. Apart from the fact that I know some of the people in Ora and their relatives who own government land, me, I have everybody's, look, I have land documents like this. When they say they're going to start from 2016, I say, you guys are jokers. One day when I get angry, I'll release everybody's land document. It includes people in this government. They know. And they are now, they know that they are 10. So I know people in this government that they came here, they bought government land, they are finished buildings. I know all of them.
Now?
I know all of them. So nobody should talk about Ora again. Ora is collapsed. We have collapsed it.
And I said, no. A plus, somebody like you, I expect you to tell Ghanaians that Ora will never die.
When, statements like that are being made, that we are doing this because oral is failing. Oral is not failing. All right? Go back and check the records. I am the first Attorney General in the history of the Fourth Republic to have brought 5 corruption cases in 1 year. Go back and check the records. And what is happening in court now is rather putting pressure on them because they know that I have been so diligent in my investigations, I have been so diligent in the prosecutions that they are afraid that their people will go to jail for the acts of corruption that they engage in. And so the accusation that we are shifting focus away from oral is not something that I will pay heed to, because oral is on track and oral is going to succeed.
And I'm saying it again here. It will never die. People must account for how much they've looted Ghana. And all of Ghanaians are solidly in support of that. Look, as much as miracle, I think before he mentioned in an interview that if Ora was true, why have there been no arrest?
Mr. Ria, now, in order for them to cover their shame, I see the NDC people on social media, and this government, the Ora, because I'm gonna say a lot of Ghanaians had faith in Ora. Now, more. And but they should begin arresting and prosecuting. NDC for nanka say tia konya so see war officers no. Omo kra no run na achi omo first. Eye appointees. Omo wa ban mu ene no nti say NDC for no person omo tia ase de nti ane ma to din ya. Omo ankasa appointees na ankasa kra je dom ti no. E dom to no. Ora ne be chi omo. Anase achi omo dada yese be chi omo ti say opa NDC pani bi owo political officer ne opa o de omo me demonstration omo mpie no meka ora asem. Omo mpie no meka ora asem. Omo ye mema omo mpie no mo beka ora asem.
In the meantime, folks, apparently all the time he was saying this, he had even visited Yoko 1 or 2 times for questioning. And eventually the law caught up with him, and allegedly over 55 million, allegedly, he stole. Massa. And after bragging on air that there's no oral, you see the situation now? Do you see the situation now? And what really hurts me is that still the people who live in glass houses are still throwing stones. Oh, this is just political.
Say we are seeing say Chemba Wontumi Abanku Koma le da kotwe no e yamanyosem Sebi, and then when you be Makwakoye. Or your political prisoner. A Mario 70 and then Nakoto Abankukum. A Mario 70 and then this Aban and Nakoto Abankukum.
You watch next week or next few days, they are probably going to go to the diplomatic mission and go and tell them, you see what we said? That the government is pursuing us. This is what we were saying. They'll go and report to the white people. That's what they do best. They always remember who the colonial masters are, and they go back and say, you are still the masters. They had a press conference saying this is political massa. When the forests were being destroyed, when the man was basking galamsey.
This is the Kano Nimri Forest Reserve in the heart of the western region of this beautiful land of Ghana. This is what betrayal looks like. This is what Akwanta Mining Company has done to the Nimri Forest Reserve. What should have been here should have been trees, ancient trees, older than our grandparents, trees that whispered our history, trees that held rains and fed our rivers. Now, they are just corpses in a graveyard. This is the Tana River, which once gave life to the people of Summer Boy and its environs. Children swam here, women cooked with it, farmers watered their crops with it and drank from it. The fufu and palm soup we so enjoy was birthed here. Today, it carries the blood of the land, murdered for gold by greed of Akwanta Mining Company Limited. Thick brown poison swirling where crystal waters once flowed. These men, they may be criminals, and yet they are also victims. Desperate souls paid peanuts to dig their nation's grave. But the real criminals, they sit in air-conditioned offices, counting their blood money.
What you say? Solid money. Mami Fabio Munchro. What you say? Solid. What you say? Solid money. Solid. What you say? Solid money. Mami Fabio Munchro. Solid. Solid.
And then we have the nerve to be able to look Ghanaians in the face and say, political. Look, I think there's a great underestimation of Ghanaian thinking. And Paul, if you have respect for Ghanaians and respect for how Ghanaians think, you won't hold this press conference and tell Ghanaians actually all of this is political.
Chemba Wontumi. Abanku koma le da kwotwe no e ya manyosem. Sebi ene boni bi makwakoye. Oye political prisoner. Amanyosem ti ene na kwotwe abanku kuom. E ya manyosem ti and then this aban and
no, let's be frank here. Look, if you say the sentence was too harsh or something, I can agree that yes, maybe we could have given him whatever, 15 with hard labor or whatever. It's not sentence near harsh. And I say, listen, that one, I'm not going to argue with you. But when you say that the imprisonment crime was not necessary and everything is political, it just an insult to every Ghanaian. So you keep insulting us. We are waiting for more press conferences, you know. And here's the thing, folks. The law is the law.
No matter how many noises are made, the law is the law.
The law is the law. That female character that was insulting Mahama and Lodina with unprintable words, and I won't even show that clip because I'm sure you've all seen it on TikTok. That it was so demeaning, so degrading. Honestly, I think she has a mental problem. And Paul, let's go and examine her. I don't think anybody who in their right mind would have used the words she did. And she was picked up. Oh, it's intimidation. You can't shut us up.
We also got the information that one of our own, our social media communicator, is being brought to the circuit court on some 2 charges. Quickly, we rushed to the court, and as has been explained by our legal representation, the attempts by the NDC government to gag members and supporters of the New Patriotic Party will not wash. If they feel and think that by always arraigning our members before the court and also in some instances keeping them in their custody,
will make our supporters keep or go silent. They should know that since they started somewhere in January 2025, it has rather re-energized our base.
Telling you not to insult and lie and defame is not telling you to shut up, or it's just telling you that speak with intelligence or keep quiet. And I wonder, because there's another character, I think he's actually has a position with the NDC, who also got angry and also said a whole host of unprintable words about Boahen. The police have picked them up too. If they had picked up only that lady and they had spared the man, then you can go ahead and say intimidation. This guy is an NDC, an official, who, friend is saying, reacting to what that lady did, actually also rained the hell of insults on Boahen. He's been picked up. So what now? Mahama wants to intimidate the NDC as well. Let us think, folks. Let us think. Let us use our common sense. We want to build this nation and we want to move forward. And there's no way any nation can move forward that does not have the discipline and respect for the law. The law is the law.
The law is the law.
Afenyo was talking about the evidence they've gathered against the NDC of corruption. He promised that, I think he promised that in May, he was going to release the names of corrupt NDC officials.
When Parliament resumes in May, I'm not sure what the kind of facts will confront NDC with. They can ever use corruption against MPP. They cannot. In fact, very soon, they cannot talk about corruption because they will realize that they themselves.
That was May, we are in June, we are almost ending July. And then this is what I'm saying. Not to be sarcastical, but I beg Afenyo, let us test JM. Because JM has said repeatedly that the sword of justice will cut both ways.
But let me say that the sword of accountability will cut both ways against both past and the present government.
Test. Let us see. Bring out the names. And let's see whether JM will see the list of allegedly appointed NDC members who are corrupt. And let's see if the sword will not cut them. If the sword doesn't cut them, then you have a case. This is intimidation. It's only MPP people that are being affected by the law. But so bring the names and challenge him. Challenge him. Say, Mr. President, these are the members of your party that are corrupt. And let's see whether when he talks about the sword will cut both ways, it is true or whether it's just a political statement. Test him. Folks, let us understand something. If you want to build a nation, one of the greatest things that we should adhere to is discipline and the rule of law. As much as people were like in a hurry, jail, JM was not touched about, faced about the noises. He said, I wanted to, but let us allow the law to work.
In 1992, we overwhelmingly adopted the 1992 Constitution to accept governance by the rule of law. On 7th January, when I swore the oath of office before the people of Ghana, I swore to uphold the 1992 Constitution. I may be as impatient as everyone else to see justice done, but painstaking investigations must be conducted, dockets must be prepared, charges must be filed, and the accused must have their day in court, including appealing even on the smallest point of law to higher courts. This process is necessary to protect us all against abuse or ill treatment of citizens and to ensure that only those guilty of offenses against the state are punished. As President Mills of blessed memory said, he said, and I quote, "The wheels of justice grind slowly, but they grind exceedingly fine."
So the law has been allowed to work to the point where finally it has caught up with Wontumi. And trust me, this, for me, is the beginning signal that oral is real. And I'm hoping that the National Service Secretariat issue will also be dealt with. And we are expecting it. I'm hoping that the Boahen issue will also be dealt with. It is all part of this loot that Ghanaians were so excited about. Said, please come and clear the people who are causing the loot. And when that is done, you know something that every Ghanaian has forgotten? That ridiculous, extremely unimportant investment, or should I say theft, that went into the construction of a so-called national cathedral. I don't hear anybody talking about it anymore. That's the way. I am now confident that eventually, it will come to the point where we start putting National Cathedral again. What was it, $58 million wasted on the whole? Wasted on the whole. Clearing of houses and absolute destruction to say, I'm fulfilling a pledge I made with my God.
I made a pledge to Almighty God that if He was gracious enough to grant my party, the New Patriotic Party, and I, victory in the 2016 election, after 2 unsuccessful attempts, I would help build a cathedral to His glory and honor.
This is not part of causing financial loss. I hope that this will all come back, and I'm saying that this recover or loot, at least we know it is alive. Let us know that it's not just alive, but it is living. Living to the extent that everybody that has looted have their day in court.
In the last election, and we came up strongly and said that if we won the election, we were going to take up the fight against corruption and the issue of accountability of public officers. We're going to take it up very strongly. And so it was a commitment we made to the people of Ghana. And we launched a program called Operation Recover All the Loot. It was a very popular program with Ghanaians, and anywhere you speak and you mention oral, I mean, the applause and the response you get was very overwhelming. So it shows that it's an issue that Ghanaians are very concerned about. And of course, the fight against corruption must be important, because the ordinary people realize that the more the political elite steal, the more fewer resources are available for the most important things like healthcare, like education, and so on and so forth. So I said last year before the election that this probably was going to be the last opportunity for us as the political leaders of this country to show Ghanaians that yes, we can have a democratic government that is accountable and that takes the fight against corruption seriously. And so since 7th January, we've been involved in a strong fight against corruption. We've published a code of conduct for political appointees, very stringent code of conduct. One of the major problems that was affecting our fight against corruption was political interference. The anti-corruption agencies were not allowed to do their duty without being interfered with by the political elite. And there was a clear case in point when the special prosecutor came and said that the president had called him and asked him to stop a certain investigation, and the Minister of Finance had gone to his house to try to influence him to stop the investigation into the Ajapa, we call it the Ajapa deal. And so clearly, I mean, in the past there was an effort to interfere with the fight against corruption and restrain some of the anti-corruption agencies from doing their work. I have told the public and assured my Attorney General and Minister of Justice that I'm not going to interfere in their work, and that if the anti-corruption agencies go after anybody, I'm not going to try and influence them to drop any investigation against anybody, both for those who served in the previous regime, many cases of which we are currently investigating. We set up the oral committee. It identified 33 cases, and it was handed over to the Attorney General, and he's created special investigative teams to investigate each of them. Some of them, they have found a lot of evidence of, procurement of properties, with illicit wealth and all that. And so with many of them, they're just at the point of beginning prosecutions. Some, they have started the prosecutions, and others are being lined up for prosecution.
It was Wontumi's lawyer who was saying that he was a public figure, and so things have been taken into consideration. He has hired people and all of that stuff. People are, when he's not there, people are going to be thrown out of work. A whole host of things.
I made a point that getting Wontumi out of the picture, that is incarcerating him, may affect a lot of things, especially his businesses, the number of people he employs and all that. So that was the appeal I was making to the court, that yes, the court has come to the conclusion and convicted Mr. Wontumi for all the offenses. But in terms of the sentences, I mean, the court ought to consider his significance in society, especially the chain of businesses he owns. And I also made the point that currently we are struggling with a lot of youth employment. And if the court itself has established that Mr. Wontumi is the directing mind of all his businesses, it means it's very crucial to his business. So getting him away from his businesses in giving him such long sentence may negatively impact on the businesses, and the young people who get jobs through his businesses and all that, they'll come onto the streets as unemployed, adding to the huge numbers who are already on the streets with no employment. So that was the appeal I made to the court, that the court should consider this particular circumstance of Mr. Wontumi and probably give him the barest minimum of sentence. That was what I did.
That's what the high people stuff. Let's not go there. Because we were all here when 5 banks were collapsed. Weren't people working there? Was the fact that people were working there a consideration before the banks were collapsed? So let's not go there. But the issue that it's a public figure, and so the sentence should have been lenient, fine, that's what we believe. I am saying that if we are resetting, then that is the more reason that we should let Ghanaians understand that even if you're a public figure, you can't get away with looting, even if you're a public figure. And when they say galamsey, don't just think, no, they give gold, that's the end of it. No, the people who have died from galamsey, children being born deformed, people spoke and spoke and spoke. Look at the kind of work Erasmus Donko did to showcase the evils of apartheid and what he was doing. But it's okay, he was a public figure. Does this make sense? That because he was a public figure, he has the license to destroy the environment, he has the license to destroy people, he has a license to kill because he's a public figure? Folks, let's think. And that's why I'm saying that resetting should let us all understand that even if you're a public figure, you can't get away with murder. So I'm going to wrap it up, but I'm saying Ghanaians, let us really, really understand we have only one country. When Ghana succeeds, all of us succeed. When Ghana fails, all of us fail. End of discussion. So if the country is in the mode of resetting and we are seeing signs that there's going to be discipline, let us back JM and let us make sure that the discipline is not selective, but all of us. That's where Feno, you come in. Also, you bring your investigations on all the NDC people who are corrupt that you say you have.
When Parliament resumes in May, I'm not sure with the kind of facts we'll confront NDC with, they can ever use corruption against MPP. They cannot. In fact, very soon, they cannot talk about corruption because they will realize that they themselves.
Let them all be investigated so that we see that, Charlie, we have reset this country, and it's not a partisan issue, it is not a vindictive issue, it is not a political issue, it's an issue about building this nation, making sure that anybody who falls short of building the nation, whichever side you stand, the sort of justice will affect you. That's what we are looking for. And for me and many others, Mr. JM, we are hoping that the judiciary will continue this pursuit of oral. They should. You can't allow people who are living in glass houses throwing stones at the system, and the system is quiet. No. No. And I think that the system, the signal that Ghanaians sent to JM by giving him an overwhelming two-thirds majority, which we have not experienced ever in the history of this country, is that, Massa, we back you. Reset. Bring discipline. Let law and order work. And that's why there was that overwhelming vote. So based on that, I'm just saying that oral should not end, man. Let us see more examples of people who have looted, who have been actually punished for looting. It was interesting that not only did Wontumi receive a jail term, he was also fined. Yeah, use that money to go and compensate people who are victims of his sad actions. It's very, very important, you know. So folks, as I end, I'm ending with the happiness that finally we have seen that oral can work, and it is not something that has just happened, but something that is going to continue to happen. All those areas where we need to tackle, let's tackle. It's very, very interesting for Miracles to be complaining now. Sometimes if farmers haven't been paid, this hasn't been done. This hasn't been done.
The earlier they begin to focus on the things that matter, that bring food to the table of the Ghanaian people, the better for them. If you October last year, you haven't been able to pay some teachers for 15 months. Some nurses you haven't paid for 15 months. There are areas in Accra that have been seeing water flow through their taps since August. Senior high schools, they haven't received their feeding grants since October last year. You have increased electricity by 24%, increased water by 15%. People close from work at 5 p.m. They can't find transport. They get home at 12 a.m. and they have to wake up at 3 a.m. and still get to the office after 8. Those are the very important things that the Ghanaian people need the government to address. You promise the young people 3-shift job system. You haven't been able to even keep the power on for the single shifts in the crowd to work.
Really? Maybe if the alleged 55 million that you have stolen was there, maybe you could have gone to farmers. Let's stop throwing stones when we live in a glass house. Let us appreciate the fact that there has been change. Let us appreciate the fact that we are focused on building this nation. And it is not a matter of press conferences and telling Ghanaians that all this is not necessary. You steal money and you loot money, and the judicial system saying all the money you have looted, account for it. You have a press conference to say that all of this is not necessary.
It is a needless committee. It has no constitutional backing. And this committee is only in for personal vendetta.
Unconstitutional establishment and putting together of people who go about harassing former government officials. We believe that the establishment of that oral committee violates and flies in the face of our constitution. And we want the people of Ghana to know that no serious country will entertain anything such as this.
In the meantime, oral has started. I hope that oral continues, and we're expecting to see more of people who have looted answer for their actions. It was very, very interesting, and I think a very good observation that we made that Miracles went on a thank you tour. People to thank people for what he went on a thank you tour.
What have you got it? Get to youth. Everybody go
Oh, then they inside. Nice one. What's one? This one, I say I can't thank all of you. I hear all the prayers, the support. I come out, I see the love. See, so today I say, nah, I no go for sleep. I for come thank you. Most of you say I never meet before, but you leave everything where you come the street top can support me. If you know be you people, I should say, but now like I still there inside. So today I say I come show you love. Trust me. After today we'll be family. I never go forget you guys. I never go forget you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Go. Thank you.
But this is all needless, folks. And the funny thing is this, we're talking about people living in glass houses. Even while Wontumi was on trial, he had announced his candidacy to be chairman of the party.
Enti ekwanya ye betimi afa so dia win the power ne de e wo mensem because me matimi anya regin bia atimi ahweso empremiansa so a I know how to make a decision. Na ni nyina chi no obi masua de obi Wontumi a na ye hunu no first ye yi no. Now you have a new Wontumi. The problem and the challenge has built me. The problems and the challenges has set me to be ready to lead MPP to a victory.
He actually went to see Yosan Sekufado for his blessing to be chairman of the party. MPP, Charlie, doesn't this hurt you? While he was being accused, he was calling Boahen incoming president, and Boahen also returned and said, oh, incoming chairman.
Your Excellency the President.
Yes, incoming. How are you?
Very well, my boss. Very well, my boss.
Massa. Anyway, let me leave it there. But I'm saying this as much as I can. Now people want to insult me, they call me woman. Oh my insult. Instead of insulting that, we'll go and see somewhere. Just pray to God that God will give you the energy and the strength and the passion to talk about this nation when you are 70 and forget about Oma. But let me assure you that this Olu will be here. Ed's Olu will be here and continue talking about nation building. This is Ghana, folks. Let us continue like this. And hopefully, I say all the time, by the time we celebrate 70 at Ghana, we'll be celebrating a nation that has finally found its direction to keep the nation up. Folks, nation building will continue. Nothing can stop it. And I'm hoping that the reset agenda will continue also with the same vigor. Ghana will rise again.
The bonfire will keep moving. Shamak Israel Yehovah, Elahenu Yehovah Ekad. We ahata et Yehovah, Elohika bika luvika, Uvika navashika, Uvika miyopika. Todeyashak. Todeyashak. Todeyashak in English, in the name of Jesus. Amen.